A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant development in international relations, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has publicly criticized the United States' recent proposal for a new nuclear agreement, asserting that Iran will not cease its uranium enrichment activities. This declaration comes as Iranian negotiators prepare to respond to the U.S. plan, which was introduced during talks last Saturday. The proposal reportedly calls for Iran to halt its production of enriched uranium, a material that can be utilized for both reactor fuel and nuclear weapons, and instead depend on a regional consortium for its nuclear fuel supplies. Khamenei, in a speech commemorating the anniversary of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's death, vehemently opposed the proposal, labeling it as 100% against the idea of "we can," a slogan emblematic of the Islamic Republic's founding principles. The tensions have further intensified following comments from U.S. President Donald Trump, who accused Iran of slow-walking its decision regarding the deal. Trump emphasized the urgency of the situation, stating that a definitive answer from Iran is required in a very short time frame. In his remarks on Truth Social, Trump disclosed that he had discussed Iran's nuclear ambitions with Russian President Vladimir Putin, highlighting the critical nature of Iran's impending decision on its nuclear weapons program. He warned that if negotiations falter, Iran could face military action from the U.S. and Israel, a threat that reportedly came with a 2-month deadline communicated in a letter sent to Iran in early March. Khamenei, who holds the ultimate authority over Iran's most pressing matters, including nuclear negotiations, reiterated the importance of uranium enrichment to Iran's nuclear program. He stated, "Uranium enrichment is the key to our nuclear program, and the enemies have focused on the enrichment," challenging the U.S. leaders by asking, "Who are you to decide whether Iran should have enrichment?" Iran's chief negotiator, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, reinforced this stance on social media, declaring, "Iran has paid dearly for these capabilities, and there is no scenario in which we will give up on the patriots who made our dream come true." He underscored that under any agreement, the principle remains, no enrichment, no deal. No nuclear weapons, we have a deal. This situation is rooted in the 2015 nuclear agreement with 6 world powers, which saw Iran agreeing to limit its nuclear activities in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. Under this deal, Iran committed to not enriching uranium beyond 3.67% purity, sufficient for civilian nuclear power generation. However, the agreement was abandoned by Trump in 2018, who argued that it inadequately addressed the potential for Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Following this, the U.S. reinstated harsh economic sanctions, compelling Iran to renegotiate. Despite its insistence that its nuclear program is entirely peaceful, Iran has progressively breached the limitations set by the original nuclear deal as a countermeasure to the sanctions. Recent reports from the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, indicate that Iran has amassed over 408 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% purity, nearing weapons-grade levels, which could potentially yield 9 nuclear bombs. In response to the proposal from the U.S., Trump reiterated that his administration would not permit any uranium enrichment by Iran. This came after reports surfaced that the U.S. proposal, relayed through Omani mediators, would allow Iran to continue producing low-enriched uranium until a regional consortium could establish facilities for enriching uranium under U.S. and IAEA supervision. Once these facilities are operational, Iran would be required to cease all domestic enrichment activities. Furthermore, Iran would be prohibited from constructing new enrichment facilities, dismantling existing uranium conversion and processing infrastructure, and halting research and development on centrifuges used for uranium enrichment. Sanctions relief would be contingent upon Iran demonstrating a genuine commitment to these terms. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt refrained from commenting on the specifics of the proposal but suggested that it would be in Iran's best interest to accept it. Araghchi indicated that Iran's response would be aligned with its national interests and rights. In a potential shift in negotiations, 2 Iranian officials hinted that Iran might consider pausing its enrichment activities if the U.S. were to release frozen Iranian assets and recognize its right to enrich uranium for civilian purposes under a broader political agreement. The backdrop of these negotiations is fraught with geopolitical tension, particularly in light of the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. A failure to reach an agreement could not only exacerbate tensions in the Middle East, but also plunge Iran's already struggling economy into further turmoil, potentially leading to domestic unrest. Additionally, the specter of military action targeting Iranian nuclear facilities looms large, as both Israel and the U.S. have previously threatened strikes should diplomatic efforts falter. As the world watches closely, the coming days will be critical in determining the trajectory of Iran's nuclear ambitions and the broader implications for regional stability and international relations. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.